Hi everybody, it's Lydia here. So I've officially dubbed September Slumptember. I just was stuck in a book slump basically all month. I still managed to read 6 books and I also DNF'd one and various other things. So let's get started. First up this month I read The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. This was great. I really loved this because it's tackling trans issues and there aren't nearly enough YA books or just books in general that focus on trans people and trans issues. I was really glad to see that The Art of Being Normal focused on this, and I really loved how Lisa Williamson in particular represented the difficulties with being trans in a society that just doesn't really accept who you are. I have a lot of friends who are trans, and a lot of the stuff that was mentioned in this book really reminded me a lot of the conversations that I've had with them, and I just thought that was really on point, and I want to see more books with trans characters in them because representation. Yay, I gave this book 4 stars. Next up, I read Undone by Kat Clark. This is about the ramifications of what happens after a girl's best friend kills himself, and he was gay and he was outed online and he just couldn't cope with it, so he kills himself. But before he does, he writes these letters which he can open one every month for the following year. So it's kind of a similar idea to like P.S. I Love You by Cecilia Ahern, but obviously it's about quite a different subject matter. It's an incredibly difficult read, I'm not gonna lie. It's a really raw book and it's gut-wrenching at times, but this is one of the reasons why I'm just falling in love with Kat Clark, because I really just love the way that she tackles subjects that we just don't like to talk about, and she just tackles them head on. She is just open and honest about them, and I really think that's the best way to talk about these issues, because, you know, if we don't talk about them enough, then they don't go away and they don't change, and yeah, so I really absolutely loved this book, and I gave it 4 stars, but I've actually been contemplating putting it up to 5 stars because I do actually think it was an incredibly well written book. Next up, I read Heart-Shaped Bruise by Tanya Byrne. This is about a girl who is in a young offenders institution, and it's basically talking about how she came to be there. It's a really fascinating read. The lead character is fascinating just from a psychological point of view. She very much sees herself and almost revels in being evil, and it's about how that resonates itself in her life and how she came to be where she is. I really thought this was a really good book and I gave it 4 stars. Next up, I read Close Your Pretty Eyes by Sally Nichols. This was terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. It is about a young girl who is in the childcare system, and she's basically spent the majority of her young life being moved from one foster home to another. She's been mistreated by a lot of her carers, including her own mother. It's an incredibly cleverly written book because it's about child abuse, and it's about the child abuse that the character of Olivia has faced throughout the years, and it's about how that what effect that has had on her, and in order to kind of convey the fear and the after effects of that in this character, Sally Nichols has written a really quite terrifying book. There's this whole ghost story that runs through it, and I won't talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's very clever and it is terrifying. Like, I had to stop reading this late at night because I was creeping myself out so much. It really makes you resonate with that character a whole lot more. It was just a really well written book and I give it 4 stars. The final book that I read this month was Starring Kitty by Kerry Stainton. I think I would have enjoyed this book had I been slightly younger. It's basically about a young girl. She and her friends are taking part in this film competition to create a short film to represent their town, and whoever wins gets to go to a filmmaking course in London. There's a lot of discussion about LGBT issues. The lead character herself is lesbian and she's never had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, so she's sort of unsure about herself and about her sexuality, and it's about how difficult it is to come out as a young person, even when you're surrounded by people you love, and it's really well written from that point of view. I really like that side of it, and I do think it's a great example of LGBT literature for young people. I think maybe I would have enjoyed it, as I say, a whole lot more if I'd been a little bit younger, but I would recommend it for sort of maybe early to mid-teens, and I gave it 3 stars. So those are all the books that I finished this month. I am also currently reading The Most of Nora Ephron by Nora Ephron. I am loving it so much. I'm about 100 pages in, and it's basically a collection of loads of articles that she wrote, and there's also some bits of screenplays that she wrote. Obviously she did things like When Harry Met Sally and stuff like that. So she's an incredible writer, and I've never read any of her like articles or journalism or anything like that, so it's really fascinating. And it starts, like, the opening few articles are about the Kennedy assassination, or even before that, so it covers a huge period in history, and it's really fascinating. She talks about what it was like to be a female journalist in the newspaper world in the 70s, and the sexism basically that occurred then, but it's really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. She was such a great writer. I'm loving this, and I cannot wait to read the rest of it. I'm also currently reading Louder Than Words by Laura Jarrett. I'm not very far in it yet, but it's basically about this character of Raffi, who she doesn't talk. She started off, it was selective mutism, and now she just doesn't talk at all. And it's really fascinating because obviously it's a book written from the point of view of a character who doesn't talk. It's interesting to get in that kind of mindset and to understand that. It's really interesting. Also, I really love, there's a friendship in that book between her and this other girl, Josie, and it's a really fantastic friendship, and I love books that have female friendships in, so I'm really enjoying that book. So the only other book that I read this month was The Princess Diaries. I actually got this from audiobook from the library, and I didn't finish this book. I gave up on it. I might try reading it again, like actually reading it and not listen to the audiobook, because even though Anne Hathaway reads it really well, I think I just got a bit confused at times, because there's stuff like math equations in there and things, and it's just, when you can't see the page, it's kind of a bit confusing when she suddenly goes from talking about like a boy she likes to talking about how x equals, you know, pi, whatever. It's just like, what's going on? And that confused me a little bit, and I think maybe I would enjoy it more if I actually read it. So don't know whether I'm going to give the series another go. I kind of do want to, because everyone raves about this series, but I think I will read it next time. But yeah, I DNF'd that this time round. So that was it for my September wrap up. I suppose looking back on it, I did read 6 books, but I wanted to read a whole lot more, and I didn't get around to it, and I still feel like I'm in a slump. So hopefully October will be better. I really hope it is, because there are so many awesome books that I want to read on my bookshelf, but I just don't have the enthusiasm right now, and it really sucks. Anyway, that is it for my September wrap up. I will see you again soon, but until then, bye!